Day 87, the practice of the Bhagavad Gita. Today I have chosen the 71st shlok of the 18th Adhyay. In other words, the 71st verse of chapter 18. Let's chant it. Shraddhavananasuyascha Shrinuyada piyo nara sopi mukta shubhan lokan prapnuyat punya karmanam. The man who listens to the Holy Gita with reverence, being free from malice, he too, liberated from sin, shall reach the propitious worlds of the virtuous. A very, innocuous little shloka, which we normally would not pay that much attention to. How to listen. Everybody knows how to listen, we feel. But what is the correct way of listening? And if we were to listen to it correctly, what would be the benefits that we would get instead of just listening and perhaps not getting any benefit? And this is coming straight from the mouth of Bhagwan Krishna. So if Bhagwan Krishna thinks that an entire shlok of the Bhagavad Gita should be dedicated to the way to listen to his song, then I think we should pay attention, because every day we are listening to the song of Bhagwan. But are we listening correctly, or could we listen better and get the benefit of it? So, 2 points to remember here. How to listen to the Gita. The first one is to listen with reverence, Shraddhavan. So there are 3 steps, as we all know, to study the Vedas or any Shastra. They are Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan. The first step is Shravan, listening to the knowledge in a way that we can actually benefit from it, acquire it, and move towards our highest spiritual goal. If the first step, Shravan, listening, is not perfectly done, then there is no way that Manan and Nididhyasan can follow successfully. So we have to make sure that Shravan, listening, is correct. Listening to a Shastra, a Pravachan, a Satsang, a Katha is different from listening to, say, some music. Normally we put on music and we get busy doing other chores because the music inspires us, gives us some energy, and we can do our actual work with more josh, let's say. But listening to a katha, listening to a pravachan, listening to a satsang, swadhyay is different. It cannot be a background music while we are doing other chores. Bhagwan says we have to listen with shraddha, reverence. That means when you're listening, your attention should be fully on the teachings that are being imparted. There should be focus in your listening. If listening is happening as a background while other chores are being done, then half attention is on listening and half attention is on some other task, because multitasking is not possible. 100% attention cannot be given if you are doing 2 different things. One will take more attention, the other will take less attention. Therefore, if we give it full attention, full focus, we then only will be able to understand. Then only we will be able to absorb the teachings of the Shastras, because these teachings are subtle teachings. They're not obvious. So why Shraddha? Why Bhagwan used the word Shraddha, reverence? Because especially, I mean, if you're going to the Vedas or Bhagavad Gita, you obviously know that these words are coming directly from the divine. And if you can think that if the divine, if Bhagwan was standing in front of you and saying something to you, would you not have Shraddha? Would you not show Shraddha? Would you not feel Shraddha towards those words that are coming directly from Bhagwan? You know that this is called Bhagavad Gita. It is the song of Bhagwan. He is singing it to you. Surely you should have Shraddha for it. So that is the reason why it is given Shraddhavan. Give it attention, give it focus. Respect the knowledge, respect the teachings. We're not telling you to respect the teacher if you don't want to, but at least respect the knowledge that is being given to you. How to respect the knowledge? If someone is there in front of you who you respect, let's say, would you lie down while the other person is talking? Or would you get up? Would you sit upright? What would you do? In a satsang, to respect the knowledge, to respect the teachings, you need to sit upright. You need to be alert. You need to be aware, not lying down on a bed, right? Unless the doctor has asked you to take complete bed rest, then I salute you that even with such severe conditions which require complete bed rest, you are still listening to the song of Bhagwan. So that is perfectly okay. But for any other reason, if you're feeling tamasic, if you're feeling, lazy and you're just lying down, then that would not be qualified as listening with reverence. All right. Avoid all other distractions. Like, for example, this satsang is barely half an hour or 35 minutes to the most, right? So don't put on the cooker in the kitchen while listening to the satsang. Don't start cooking your food and trying to multitask. Don't try to take the homework of your child while listening to the satsang. Give yourself 15 dedicated minutes. Not 15, 35 dedicated minutes to listening to the satsang, to listening to the chanting. So many people will log off immediately after I stop speaking. They will not wait for the song of Bhagwan. You don't wait for the song of Bhagwan, then you are not respecting the knowledge, right? So think of all these things. These are subtle things. And when you hear what the benefit of that is, then you'll understand why I'm going on and on about respecting this knowledge. All right. One more thing you could do while listening is taking notes. When you take notes, there is a connection between what you're hearing, your organs of action, which is your hand, and your brain. So all these things are getting integrated, so you will absorb the knowledge in a much better, more pakka way. So if you can, then one good way of Shravan, listening, is to take notes. Then the second condition Bhagwan says for listening properly is to be free from malice. Now, if you understand the process by which we listen, we are listening with the organ of hearing, ears. So some sounds come in through the ear. They just collect here, they go into the mind. The mind really doesn't know what to do with that sound, how to interpret it, how to translate it into knowledge. The matter goes to the intellect. The intellect will decide, the intellect will evaluate the value of this input which has come in through the ears. All this happening in the flash of a second. based on our earlier sanskars, or maybe lack of them. The intellect will decide immediately whether the words we are hearing are useful, whether the words we are hearing are pleasant, beautiful, whether the words we are hearing are truthful or worth hearing, or are they useless, nonsensical and ugly and unpleasant to hear. Fast it will decide. Then the intellect will decide, follow these words, listen to them, pay attention, or just reject them, discard them. All this happens within a flash of a second, all right? Sometimes we have prejudices. Sometimes we have notions in our mind. And I must thank the great YouTube videos for that, because anyone can post anything, whether it is valid or not valid. And when we see those videos, even when we read on internet all kinds of articles, we have prejudices, we have preconceived notions about what is right and what is wrong. And when we hear the satsang, when we hear the teachings, we are comparing it with what we have heard earlier, what we have read earlier, what we have seen earlier, and immediately with that preconceived notion, we simply reject or discard or ridicule also the teachings of the Vedas or the teachings of the Gita. So what should we do? How should we tackle this problem? Keep the mind open. Keep the mind open. If you have preconceived knowledge of some spiritual talk, say, okay, I will wait now. Let me give this enough time to absorb this new concept, to absorb this different teaching that than what I have heard earlier. Be open. Ask questions. In Sanatan Dharma, we welcome questions. It is our tradition, because all teachings are always dialogues, not like this Zoom where only one person is talking. It's always in person, and in person means at the feet of the Guru. And the student is encouraged to ask questions. So if you are confused, if you have this dilemma, which is the correct thing that I heard on YouTube, that I read on internet, or this, then ask the questions. Don't reject anything without asking, because that would be malice. Experiment with the teachings. Give it time. See if it works for you. See if it is becoming your own truth. And if it is not, if you're experimenting, then by all means, you can reject it, but at least give it a chance. So, two things. One is listen with reverence, and two, listen by being free from malice. What will I gain from this? What is the benefit? Bhagwan himself is giving the benefit. He says, and let's take it in chronological order. Let's say you listen with reverence. Let's say you listen by being free from malice. Then what will happen? Your intellect will accept the knowledge. Accept, that's the first step. The intellect will accept the knowledge, and it will be ready to absorb it inside. Then what will happen? Gradually, by listening to the same thing again and again in satsangs, that's what we have to do. We have to keep repeating the same thing. You are divine, you are not the body. Affirmations, for 2 months I say the same thing. Finally, by saying it, it becomes a default setting in the mind, right? Then what happens? When it is absorbed, when it becomes a default setting, slowly, your doubts get cleared, your confusions disappear, and you start understanding this knowledge better. You understand it. It's only when you will understand it in reality is when you will start living the knowledge. You have to live the knowledge. Just not listening is not enough. You will live the knowledge. And when you live the knowledge, this antakaran will get purified. And you know exactly the whole spiritual journey is about purifying the antakaran. Antakaran gets purified means it gets free from sin. Bhagavan has used the word sin, liberated from sin. Sin meaning adharma. You will stop doing adharma, whether you did adharma out of being evil or out of not knowing better. So you will be liberated from committing adharma in whichever way you were doing it. Purification will happen. Then at the time of death, just by listening, hello, we are not talking about any further sadhana. Just by listening to the Gita, you will be accepted in the dham of Bhagwan. You will get shravan in the loka of Bhagwan. And this is only, Bhagwan says, if you are listening. But how to listen? I have told you. What if I actually study it? Not just listen to it, but if I'm actually studying it, will I have the same benefit? I'll tell that to you tomorrow.